Dylan status, Jeremy, just kind of housekeeping on
Yeah, I'll
the
just go
health of
through.
the roster.
Yes. Dylan is doing well. He's on the court. That'll be just a pretty straightforward ramp up in terms of, getting that thing to the point where it can have contact and be ready to be in a game and not get hit. De'Aaron Fox is improving and getting better. He's working out on the court. Had a hamstring injury, and we're just going to be very mindful and conservative as we always are. He'll be out there ready to be practicing tomorrow, but we'll be big picture, obviously long season ahead. And Jeremy's left calf, similar, just improving on the court. All those guys are just getting better and better every day and improving and want to push it, but obviously we will not, as we have traditionally here.
Do you think Dylan will see any time?
Say it, I'm sorry.
Do you think Dylan will see any time in the preseason? Will he be able to play at some point in the preseason?
We'll see. Yeah, I think, again, we're not going to try to put any particular timetable on certain things. Just everything is heading in the right direction and trending, and so we just want it to continue that way. And when it's all the way good and it's probably a little overdone on our end medically, then we'll clear them as we always do.
What about your summer and how it is you're putting your stamp on this with your coaches, your roster, and how you see things maybe changing a little differently this year than last?
Yeah, I think very excited to get the opportunity to prepare for a season and to go through that cycle of the off season and what comes about at times with that. One of those circumstances was rounding out the staff. Last year we didn't bring any staff in, so there were some opportunities to felt like we needed to round out the staff and add a few people, and we felt really good about the people that we brought in and people that we feel are our type of people and about the right stuff, and obviously their resumes and experience precedes them in their experiences and what they've done prior to here, but really excited about adding to the group.
Mental, physical, some of everything.
Yeah, especially when you follow it on social media like a lot of people have, right? It's a pretty unique rabbit hole you can get down. For someone of his age, he is so intentional on the variety of ways that he tries to improve as a player and a person. It's really something I've never witnessed or experienced in my time. It's quite curious, it's quite constantly trying to push himself out of his comfort zone and learn new things, and I just really am in awe sometimes of just the levels that he goes and the things that he thinks about that may be a small nuance, but he feels like if I can add this to my world, being, mindset, whatever it may be, it can help him or help me from his perspective when he's thinking that, and I think that's something that's just not very common in someone at his age. I know I wasn't thinking like that at that age.
The two veteran big guys that you guys added, Olenek and Cornette, what are you looking for from each of those guys?
I think the variety and versatility of their skill sets is something that complements our group. I think they've been a part of winning programs in their careers. I think they are people that have embraced their role and really been able to help teams and impact winning. That doesn't always add up maybe on a stat sheet or show up in a box score, but when you really look into their roles and some of the things that they've done and the places they've been, those are two people that we identified to be a part of our group that we thought could really round out our lineups and rotations.
Like a difference to start the season with Wemby on and off the court compared to the end of last season where he was out.
To have him on the court versus off the court?
No, I mean, how big is the difference to having him on the end of the court around you, around the team, compared to having him out for the end of the season?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important. his maturation process and growth as a player and our team are very, very mutually inclusive. And so for him to be a part of our team in the locker room, on the airplane, on the court, in a huddle, during a timeout, whatever it may be, there is so much value into that, whether that's right at that moment or what we're trying to grow and build here. And so for him to be around, and then for him to also have that fulfillment of being able to compete, because we know how he's wired and what he really identifies with and values in that regard, it's something that, unfortunately you probably take it for granted when it's there, and then when it's gone, you really feel it. So I think, again, to have him healthy and ready to go right now is something that we're feeling really good about.
Mitch, D over here. You only got 5 games with De'Aaron and Wemby together last year. Steph emerges as Rookie of the Year. You guys have all offseason, you and your new staff, to talk about basically new people, plus the guys, the free agents that you pick up. Have you guys thought about, I'm sure you've thought about it, but how this all works together, how you can't play together, all that kind of stuff? And does it look differently than the way you guys were playing at the end of last year?
I think the biggest thing will be that defensive identity. I think that we've landed on that being something that should be able to carry us through. And anytime you add new pieces, especially big pieces like a De'Aaron Fox, there will be time that it takes to find continuity, rhythm, chemistry. You see it all across the league. One thing that probably doesn't get talked enough about, in my opinion, is continuity. Very seldom do teams have the type of success they've had without 1, 2, 3+ years together, whether that's base, whether that's foundational pieces. You can look back to, I don't know how many champions, but all the ones that I can think of, they've had some type of base. Even Indiana last year, right? They've been growing that thing for a few years. And so I think for us, to have a base and anchor, which is our defense, and then it will be on us as a staff to continue to put people in places and in situations where they can grow and play together and learn how to play together. And I think we're never going to shy away or avoid having too many good players, especially with the amount of versatility and variety of strengths that they have. I think that's something we believe that they can play together and complement each other. And I think, again, when you go back to a lot of the teams who've had success recently in our league, there's been multiple people on their team that can dribble, pass, and shoot and play off each other. And the great thing about it, I think, more than anything, has been not only the willingness, but actually the enthusiasm that those guys have had to play with one another and to be able to, me create an advantage for you and vice versa, and be able to play with their strengths on strengths together.
Mitch, you guys have been very patient in building this program back. Fans, maybe not so much after the playoff drought that you guys have experienced. What are your expectations for this team this season?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think there's an acknowledgement of fans aren't supposed to be patient. So that's part of their job and what they do, and we love the support, and we love that they want us to win. I think our expectations are continuing to do what you just said. We've been building this thing and trying to grow and trend in the right direction, and we feel like this is another step of our journey in the maturation process into becoming a more competitive team.
Hi, Coach. You just talked about Wemby and how in the arena. Did he talk to you about this, and do you think it can work, it can take off, not only in San Antonio, but in the NBA in general?
I have no idea if it'll work. I guess that's up to the people that he chose or who are going to be in that section, and if they have the wherewithal to be able to achieve that. We actually talked about it last year when we were in Paris. We went to a PSG football game, and they have obviously a very big section that does exactly that. And so seeing that in person was a very big, experience and impression made upon me. I love the idea, and if we have a group of people that can do that, that's awesome.
Hi, Coach. You're just the second black head coach in franchise history in a city that's populated predominantly by people of color. How significant is that for you and your family?
I think it's significant in the sense that if people resonate or identify with something that hasn't happened much or is something that may be new for them in their world, and that gives them any type of positive mindset or belief in something for themselves or their loved ones, and that's great. Honestly, for me, I don't know if I've always thought about it or think about it. This place is so diverse in the environment that we're here, and I guess it's something that maybe I don't take for granted, but it's not on the forefront of my mind. But yeah, I think if it's something that someone resonates with or relates to, then that's awesome.
Mitch, I know the modern NBA is positionless, but what position does Stephon Castle play?
Really good player. Yeah, I think, again, we have a few of those guys. And I think the more different ways that our guys can impact winning and play together, the more different ways and combinations of guys we can play together. And that gives us just that much more ammo and runway to be creative and thorough in trying to create advantages and put good players together that can complement each other.
Your predecessor would be proud of that answer. I guess a question that people have is, do you see him playing alongside De'Aaron and/or Dylan, or do you see situations where Stephon might be the lead guard on the court at a certain time?
I see all that. I think Steph has proven in 3 years everything you just asked. In high school, he was an All-American who was the main creator and played with the basketball in his hands the whole time. He goes to UConn and plays every position but basically person with the ball in their hands as a primary creator. And then he arrived here, and a lot by circumstances, then also a lot by potential and what he showed us, played every single role. He handled the pick and roll, he set screens in pick and rolls, he improved on his catch and shoot from three. He's obviously been one of our main defenders. We're gonna ask him to rebound. We're gonna ask him to play on and off the ball. And so I think what he has already done is just something we want to continue to grow him in. And again, I think he's built for it, has already shown the chops to do it and had success with it.
What's up, Mitch?